What's going on, guys? This is Astrom Sensei and welcome back to creating an action role-playing game in Unreal Engine 4. So in this video we're going to be adding a crouching mechanic. So when you press left control you will crouch with animations and with the walk speed adjusted, and even the sphere, the capsule sphere for the collision, it will shrink in size to like half the height so that you can duck under things. I know like crouching is not very important in role-playing games, but yeah, I thought maybe you're creating something like Fallout or Skyrim, and yeah, in those games there is crouching. So yeah, we're gonna be adding that, and if we don't want it we can just simply leave the input for it empty without any buttons. So let's go to mixamo.com and download crouch animations. Now I've already downloaded several. I downloaded this one, crouch idle, as you can see, and I downloaded crouch walk, forward, backwards, left and right. Which ones? Let me show you. These ones, the ones with the bow and arrow. Make sure you download them in place. Make sure you download all of the animations in place, because that's just the way it should be. I explained it in the first video. So yeah, what's next is you want to go back to your Unreal Engine project and open the settings, go to project settings, and we're going to define an input for crouching. So go to input. I already did it, but I'm gonna do it again because I've already recorded this video before and I messed up, so I'm repeating it right now. Now for the input I'm gonna choose left control. Here we go. And what's next is you want to go to animations. I've added all my animations in our folder called walk, except for the blend space. I'm gonna move it here, and over here I'm gonna create a new folder. I'm gonna call it blend spaces, and I'm gonna place my walking blend space in this folder. And now I'm gonna create a new folder. I'm gonna call it crouch. This is where I'll be storing my crouch animations. Here are the animations I've downloaded. I'm just simply gonna drag them and drop them as usual, and choose the Maria skeleton. So far it's all self-explanatory. What's next is you want to go to the walking blend space and you want to duplicate it and just name it BSP crouch. Now why we duplicated it is because all of these stuff we don't want to do them all over again. So over here in the duplicated one we can simply just replace the walking animations. Now I'm gonna replace them one by one. Idle with crouch idle, left strafe walk with crouch walk left, and right strafe walk with crouch walk right. Walking backwards with crouch walk back. And if you don't know, to preview these, wait a minute. I think I've messed up downloading the walking backwards, so I'm gonna download it again. I think I forgot to press the in place button. Wait, let me refresh. I don't know why Mixamo just doesn't work when I minimize it. So crouch. Oh, okay, this one in place. See, this is what happens when you don't press in place. So this is the idle and this is the walking backwards. She really walks backwards, and that's not good because the animations aren't the driving force behind the character movement. it's the input. So yeah, I'm gonna go back to the blend space and replace it for the walking backwards, -300. So as you can see, it's great now. Now there's crouch walking forwards. Okay. As for the running animations, I'm not going to replace them because whenever the speed is over 3... Oh, wait. I don't want the... Okay. So I don't want... Whenever the speed is over the crouching speed, we're just not gonna use these, so I'm just gonna leave them the way they are. But our crouch walk forward is at speed 300, so we don't want that. We want the crouching to be slightly slower than walking, so I'm simply going to change the number of grid divisions to 14. And as you can see, it's now at 300. 1 minute. Yeah, we're at approximately 250, 260. Yeah, we're just gonna use 250, so that's all good. Now we'll exit the animation blend space, and we're going to go to the animation blueprint and add our blend space because there's nothing calling it. So I've already put the animation blueprint in the blueprints folder. I don't like leaving it in the animations folder because usually there's a lot of switching between the animation blueprint and the character blueprint. So yeah. Now you want to get the speed side and the speed forward and connect them after you drag and drop your blend space. And over here you want to get a node called blend pose by bool. So what this does is connect the walk to the blend pose by bool, and what this one does is it has a variable, and if it's true, if this variable is true, which is crouched, so I'm gonna promote this to a variable, I'm gonna call it crouched, and I'm gonna put it over here. So if crouched is true, the blend space crouch will be activated, and if it's false, we'll simply just stay walking. So what next? Okay, for the blend time, this is the time between, that's the time of the blending between both blend spaces. So I'm just simply gonna change it to 0.3 instead of 0.1 because if it's 0.1, it's much like it almost snaps, not very blended. So yeah, now I'm gonna add a slot node and I'm gonna connect it to the final animation pose. As you can see, it works, but now there's still nothing connecting it to the character blueprint. So instead of creating a variable in the character blueprint and calling that, I'm simply gonna create a blueprint interface, which is, I'll explain it in a moment. Call it BP interface / character actions. Actions, not one action. And I'm gonna add here a new function. I'm gonna call it crouch and add an input which is enabled. Now what this one does, it stores functions which are like variables or boolean variables. That's what we mainly use it for right now. And instead of creating these variables in a character blueprint and casting to that character blueprint and all that stuff, you simply just add them here, and you can call them whenever you want, and later like they become functions, You'll understand it as we go through this tutorial series, so yeah, I'll just stick with it. It's much better than using variables in my opinion. Now we're gonna go back to the animation blueprint and we're gonna go here, class settings, and we want to add the interface we just created, so search for it, BP interface character actions, and in the event graph, yeah, in the event graph we're gonna call our interface event, wait, not this one, crouch, yeah, this one, and we're gonna set crouched here to this one. Now we'll go back to our blueprint character and we're gonna add crouching here right now. So we earlier we added, wait, I made this variable before doing the tutorial when I was just reviewing what I'm gonna show you, so I'm just gonna delete that. Now over here we're going to make a new variable, but first we're gonna go to class settings and we're gonna add our interface here just like we did in the animation blueprint. So here we go, and then we're gonna over here under sprint we're gonna do our input. So if we press the crouch button, input crouch, what we do is we get a variable, wait, before that we go to bring the mesh and bring a get anim instance, and we create a variable, call it crouching, and over here we'll set crouching. So for the set crouching we want the condition to be if it's crouching or not. So over here I'm gonna get crouching and I'm gonna create a not boolean node. This node is like the best. It's much better than using flip-flops, so yeah. Now we're gonna do this crouch message, as you can see, and over here I'm simply gonna connect it to the set crouching. So if it's not crouching, based on if it's crouching or not, this variable, make sure it's off by default. Yeah, if it's based on this, we will either enable or disable the crouch interface character action. And here we're simply gonna get a crouch. Oh, one minute. Before this we're gonna add a branch, and if it's true we crouch, and if it's false we uncrouch, and our condition is if it's crouching or not. And in character movement, this one, we search here. Oh, there's no need for searching, let's just scroll to the bottom, or you can just type crouch here. I prefer to do that honestly. As you can see we can't find anything. Let's just type it, crouch, and make sure you enable can crouch. It's off by default, I've enabled it before. Where is it? And the character movement, here in the character movement there will be one called max walk speed crouched. So it's by default it's 300. I've changed that to 250 because our default walking is 300. If you want your crouching to be at speed 300, there's no problem with that either. Crouched half height, by default it's 40, but that's too short, so I want to make it 65. And what else? Okay, so over here now let's make sure if this works or not. So 1 minute. Let's see. Let's try this. Okay guys, so I've just checked and I found out what my problem was. So wait, I disconnected this. Okay, so my problem here is that the variable names here, the crouching one and this one, they're somehow not good. So over here I changed this name to crouching and I compiled it, and in my BP base here, this variable I made earlier, I'm just gonna change it to crouching and a question mark. So right now, as you can see, wait a minute, oh yeah, and over here you simply just wanna change here to crouch, and here crouch, uncrouch, because this function, the crouch function, which is built in from Unreal Engine, like it comes with every single character blueprint. It had the same name here, which is crouch, in the BP interface we made, so there's no need for them to have the same name, or else we wouldn't be able to compile. So yeah, now that we've finished crouching, let's test it out and see if it works. Now there's gonna be an issue, so we're walking and we crouch, it works, and the capsule size also works, which is like half the size, but the problem is we can't uncrouch anymore, so we're gonna fix that right now. So if you sprint while crouching, it also doesn't work, and you can no longer uncrouch when you're walking, and even when you're running, like there's when you're idle, when you stop running, she goes back to crouching. So we're going to fix that quickly right now. So the first thing is that I've messed up here. I chose the wrong name for this blueprint interface. So instead of character actions, I'm gonna call it character anims. 1 minute. Anims. I hope it doesn't cause us issues. Let's see. Okay, there are no issues. So after that, we wanna make another blueprint interface, and we're gonna call that one character actions. So go to blueprint, blueprint interface, and call it BPI. Oh no, BP interface, because we don't want to forget that it's an interface. We're not that used to interfaces. Oh, I forgot to continue the name. Yeah, we're not that used to interfaces, so it would be better to be clear with the name. So BP interface, character actions. That's more clear. And in here, what you want to do is for each input, we want to create a new function. So for example, for running, we want to make it run on. For sprinting, we want to add a new one, call it sprint on. And for crouching, you want to go make a new one and call it crouch on. And for each one, we want to create an input. Where 1 minute. Okay, here input, and we're gonna call it enabled. So I know like there aren't many tutorials on this method, but when I've been like trying to make a game, and the tutorials that use this method are the best, so I decided to use it too for our project. And the third one, create an input and call it enabled. After we created all of the inputs for all of the functions, I'm gonna just compile, and I'm gonna go back to the blueprint base. And over here, what we wanna do is first I'm gonna make a comment for the crouching area, and I'm just gonna call it crouch, because we don't wanna get lost here. And maybe a little like this. Okay. Now over here for toggle walk and run, I'm gonna I'm gonna change it so that we can this function, where is it, in character actions, run on, we can just enable this through run on. So what we want to do is select all of these from set till the end, and you want to collapse them into macro, and we can call it toggle run or run on. Let's see, okay, let's just call it toggle walk / run m. Alright, and now what we're gonna do is we're gonna get the run on message. No, not the run on message, the run on event. And no, event run. Oh, we forgot to add the class, we forgot to add our character interface to the here, character class settings. What happened to me? Why am I stuttering? So let's do that right now. BPI character actions, compile, and over here now we can try it, event run on. Alright, it works now. And we're just gonna toggle copy this macro. So what collapsing these nodes into a macro does is it makes this whole thing a node which you can use over and over again without having to like copy all of that. So yeah, we placed our event run on, so when this event is activated, run on, we do this, and our condition is here, so it's connected here. And we're gonna do something similar for this printing. We're simply gonna also make event sprint on, and after that add a branch with true leading to this and false leading to this, and the condition is this. So if it's enabled, true; if it's not, false. And as for crouching, I'm just gonna do the same as toggle walk and run. I'm gonna select all of them except for these two. So from here, because we want to have our different condition, so just select all of these and collapse them into macro so that they become reusable. Call it crouch m, and over here event crouch on, so we're calling it from the blueprint interface, and when it's enabled we want to do the same macro, so the same set of events, and here we go, voila. Now here inside of our macro in this set of nodes, we want to add a few things to make sure that we don't stay crouched after we uncrouch. So in here, first after we set the crouching, we want to set running and to false, and I think this one's connected to this one. And over here, before we crouch, you wanna make sure you turn off run on, so make sure it's disabled, not enabled, like this is false, not true, and that way I think it's fixed. But we still have one more thing to do before we test it again, and that is we wanna edit here. So over here in toggle walk, we're just gonna make our crouch on off. So this one. Make sure it's disabled, and that's it. Now let's take a look at our blueprint. Yeah, it's good, it's tidy. And now we have like compatibility between sprinting, walking, running, and crouching. And one more thing we want to add is if we are sprinting, we want to uncrouch. So over here we'll set crouching to false. Let's try it out. No, that's not the way to do it. Maybe we want to disable crouch on. Let's try it. Let's see if it works. Okay, now it works. So here we are, we're testing the game, and first we can walk, we can run, we can sprint, we can crouch, we can run. Like if we run, toggle run, we uncrouch, and we can no longer toggle walk. Why is that? But we no longer, like while crouching, we no longer, why is that happening? Oh my god. Okay, so there's an issue here with over here probably. Let's try to delete this and try again. Okay, now it works. So I had that set running to false here node. That was not necessary. It was causing issues, so that's fixed now. As you can see, we can cycle between all of them without any issues. So yeah. Now why do we uncrouch here? I don't know. We're gonna fix that another time, definitely. But maybe like we can do a sphere capture, and when we have anything over us we can't change the animations. I'm pretty sure I tested it and it was working fine before I recorded this video, so I'm gonna check what's wrong with it and I'm gonna change it in another video, like fix it. So yeah, but that's it for today's video. I really hope I helped with making crouch. Now for the next video we're actually gonna start working on the battle system, and maybe before that we might add jumping if you guys want it. I don't know. I don't really want jumping in my game, but if you guys want it, maybe we can do it before the battle system. I don't know, you guys vote. So I really hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I really hope I helped. I would really appreciate it if you like the video and you subscribe if you want to see more game development tutorials and Unreal Engine stuff. So thank you guys for watching, and see you next time.